Now we've seen plenty of gaming phones out there, but usually they are heavy, robust and flashy devices that are focused on one thing and one thing only, offering the best gaming experience. I mean, it's kinda in the name, right? It's a gaming phone. Well, not this one. This right here is the POCO F3 GT, which although boasts of gaming phone features, is a phone that most folks would like to use on a daily basis as well. And for less than rupees 30,000, it's a pretty solid deal. But is it the phone for you? Well, let's find out. This is Varun from GTR and you're watching my long-term review of the POCO F3 GT. Let's get started. Alright, so let's kick things off by talking about the design here. Now, the POCO F3 GT goes for a very minimalistic look, something that most gaming phones aren't really known for. But then again, that works in its favor because you can use this phone in public without attracting unwanted attention. Now, the F3 GT is a tad bit heavy at 205 grams, but the ergonomics are well defined and there's good weight balancing, so the phone does not feel top heavy. The camera bump is there, but it's so subtle that it's not really an issue. Now, speaking of which, most folks just use a tempered glass on the phone and use the phone without a case, in which scenario they would like to rest their phone flat on the display. That's where this camera bump with its notification LED comes in super handy. Your phone could be on silent, but this helps in getting easily notified whenever someone is calling or if you've got a new message or something. Now, in terms of protection, the phone comes with Gorilla Glass 5 on both front and back and is also IP53 rated for protection against dust and splashes. The biggest standout feature of the phone are definitely these gaming triggers, which arguably is the reason why folks consider it to be a gaming phone. Now, I'll talk about these in the performance section of this video, but as far as the design language goes, it's strong, sturdy, and minimal, and it's definitely something that pretty much all folks would admire. Next up, let's talk about the display. Now, the POCO F3 GT comes with a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel clocked at 120Hz. The panel is big, vibrant, and super smooth, which is a joy for day-to-day usage. Now, this is actually a 10-bit panel with support for HDR10 Plus that makes it amazing for content consumption. Add to that the stereo speakers and you literally have a mini home theater in your pocket because the experience is legit that good. Also, for gamers, this has a touch sampling rate of 480Hz, which definitely aids the gaming performance. Now, moving on, we have this triple camera setup right here. On paper, you get a 64MP primary shooter, an 8MP ultra-wide sensor, and a 2MP macro sensor, while up front, there's a 16MP selfie shooter. And how's the performance like? Absolutely great. While I feel that in this price segment, the Nord 2 has arguably the best overall camera, the POCO F3 GT doesn't fall behind. The shots are well detailed, HDR works very well, and the contrast is also pretty much spot on. Now, POCO's edge detection in portrait mode is also pretty much flawless. And as far as selfies go, the shots produced are quite sharp. In terms of low-light photography, while you could probably hope for a bit more illumination, the night mode pretty much makes up for it and offers great results. Finally, while the F3 GT's video only goes as high as 4K 30fps, the footage is quite crisp with a good dynamic range too. Now, just a couple of small things to highlight before we move on to the performance factor. The POCO F3 GT is a 5G phone, but we do not have 5G here in India, so I can't really test that. But the thing to highlight here is that this has support for just 2 5G bands. So if those 2 5G bands are not the ones that make their way to India, they're pretty much out of luck. So yeah, there's that. Secondly, the phone comes with Miui 12.5, which is a good thing because although there is a ton of bloatware here, it's all uninstallable, ads are pretty much in control now. So yeah, that all is good. And one thing that I want to highlight is that when the phone was launched, there were a couple of bugs here and there were some stutters. But with all the updates that the company has pushed out, the performance and the overall software experience of the phone has been really improved. And it's pretty much a lag-free experience now. Alright, so now let's talk about the performance. Powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 1200 SoC, the POCO F3 GT is no slouch. It has amazing scores in benchmarks, and while we saw in a recent comparison of the F3 GT with the Realme GT Neo2 that the Snapdragon 870 has better scores, it's not like the F3 GT is far behind. With that being said, what does surprise me is that despite having a vapor chamber cooling system, the POCO F3 GT does have a lot of throttling. In fact, in a 15-minute run, the F3 GT throttled up to 70% of its peak performance. And while the device isn't super hot or anything, you can definitely feel the device getting warm. So how much does this affect the gaming experience? Well, the phone can run games like BGMI and Call of Duty at the highest settings, and despite heating up a bit, it wasn't entirely a bad experience. The major credit for this, however, goes to these maglev triggers. Hidden inside the frame, these are minimal gaming triggers that come in super handy, especially for FPS titles, and they definitely enhance your gaming experience. Now, I'll reiterate something that I said in my comparison video of the F3 GT as well. If you're interested in long, extended gaming sessions, the F3 GT is probably not the right phone for you simply because of all the throttling and the heat. With that being said, if you're interested in gaming for like 1.5 hours, the gaming triggers alone make the F3 GT a very compelling choice. Now, speaking of things that are really good, the battery life. The POCO F3 GT packs in a 5065 mAh battery that lasts an entire day without any issues. Like I said, there were some battery drain issues around the launch time, but I can safely say that the battery life now, after all the updates, is quite reliable, so that's good. And when you have to juice things up, you have this 67-watt fast charger to do the job for you. Speaking of which, I really like the L-shaped design here. It's just far more practical. So, is the POCO F3 GT the best phone under Rs 30,000, and is it the phone for you? Well, it's not a clear-cut winner, but here's the thing. First of all, you need to step out of this illusion that the POCO F3 GT is just a gaming phone. It has a fantastic display, great battery life, great features, a very capable camera, mind you. Something that is not something you expect out of gaming phones. So yeah, the F3 GT is definitely a phone for everyone. And if you look at the price segment and then you look at the same processor, you have direct competitors like the OnePlus Nord 2 and the Realme X7 Max. The Nord 2 definitely has a better camera, a more, well, let's say a preferable custom Android skin, and the Realme X7 Max is far cheaper and has support for more 5G bands too. With that being said, for its price tag, the POCO F3 GT still remains a very compelling choice for most users out there, and if you decide to go for it, it's not like you'll be living with any sort of regrets. And as far as the comparison between MediaTek and Snapdragon 870 goes, well, like I said, I've already done a thorough comparison video of that, so make sure to check it out from the card here or the links down below. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is Juan from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.